Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Instant Movie Reviews with Raina and Droo. I'm Droo.
I'm Raina.
And we are back a little bit late to the game this one. We're seeing something that's already been out for a couple of days, but we thought we would still do a review for it. This is one that you've been quite excited about. I guess you've read the book that it's based on. What are we seeing today?
Today we're seeing Project Hail Mary with Ryan Gosling. I'm very excited for it because the book was a delight, and overall it is getting fantastic reviews. So I don't know if it's pointless for us to review this or what, but we got to keep our streak going of recording reviews for pretty much everything we've seen. You know, I think there was only a handful of movies we didn't review last year because of like timing issues.
Like Jurassic World and
and it just didn't make
Avatar,
sense. Yeah. And, you know, even if we can't do a long form like this, Droo does try to do a short form. So Droo, what do you think the film is about from seeing the commercials or the trailers? Because I don't want to like ruin it.
It looks a little reminiscent of the sci-fi horror film Life that we saw a couple years ago with Ryan Reynolds, I believe was in that. I'm getting the Ryans confused. But this is definitely not a horror film, and I think this will be our first non-horror review since Song Sung Blue.
Yeah, I think so.
We're not a horror channel, it's just what we tend to watch.
It's just what's happening here. It's just what's happening here. So I'm really excited for this. I think it's going to be good. I don't want to talk too long because we've had yet another freaking snowstorm. When is it going to be spring? I don't know. That's going to be my next detective movie or something. Where is spring? I'm just really looking forward to it. I've seen that the popcorn boxes are really cool and everything for this movie, and I did read that they don't use any green screen in this film, which I think is very interesting. It's like a lot of practical effects, so I'm very curious to see. Anyway, we're gonna head in and we'll see you soon.
See you in a minute.
What'd you think of that, Droo?
I thought it was very, very good.
Yes, I think the hype is real on this one. The hype is real. Our IMAX screening, you have to see it on IMAX.
Oh, yes.
It is worth seeing on IMAX. It is just a feast for the eyes. It was pretty much full. Like, I wouldn't say sold out, but very close.
Very close on a Monday.
On a Monday. In a snowstorm. It's literally freezing rain right now. Like the movie came out last week. So I think that's really good. I think it's going to pull in a lot of money. Yeah. First impressions for me, really well cast with Ryan. Ryan did a phenomenal job. I loved what I assume is his little improvisations with the character. He was like a madman ADHD. I loved it though. It was very relatable. And I said this to Droo while we were watching it. I loved the choice of music for backing, like when his character was doing things. It felt like Disney princess music. Like he'd be doing something and you get this little flourish of doo-doo-doo-doo. And sound comes to play an important role throughout this film. So I, once again, think we're nailing it with sound. We're nailing it. Like, we're doing such a good job. And Rocky was everything I hoped for and more. I see why people want the Rocky plush. Very lovable character. I'm so glad that they went with practical effects and things and puppeteering.
Now, you've read the book. Is that creature described the same way, or did they take some liberties? Because it seemed almost impossibly cute. At first I was like, this is so clearly created to like tug on the heartstrings and sell merch. But
no, it is very close to the book. And I even saw people who didn't know the source material. They were complaining online, being like, oh, I wish they didn't show like the Muppet alien, like that ruins it for me. And people were in the comments being like, let it cook. You just need to watch it because when you read it. But I will admit it has been, like, I read it when it first came out. So a lot of stuff blurs together, and I read it in like a batch of reading a lot of similar books because it was one of those things where it was like you read one thing and then it suggested these to you, and I kind of went on like a little Andy Weir binge and like a couple other similar ones. So a few things were blending together, and it was like there are differences. There's always going to be differences between the movie and the book, but from what I could remember, I felt like they were mostly good changes. Some things were a little compressed, like taking a couple events and putting them into one, but I think it worked for the movie. I don't think like there was anything important left out. You know, no spoilers for the ending. People who read the book already know the ending. You know, slight tweaks there in the beginning. I was afraid we weren't going to get the book ending because I thought like, oh, this is slightly veering off course. And then I was looking at Droo and I was almost feeling bad for Droo. I was like, oh, the book ending is so good. But it does largely line up, like the plot overall, the ending, all the twists and stuff. So if you know the source material, it does largely line up. And I think being a book, like a fan of the book, you will be a fan of the movie. I don't think anybody's coming into this being like, oh, they didn't do the book justice. Like, they did a very, very good job. So from a non-book perspective, how did you feel?
I wasn't expecting it to be sort of that much of a meditative dive on loneliness and friendship, and again, like, there really wasn't a romantic subplot shoehorned into this, and I'm trying to think of the last time I saw something that just focused on just a platonic friendship. And Rocky's an alien. I'm not even, like, the actor who voices Rocky is male, and I sort of think of Rocky as male, but it really focused on a platonic male friendship in my mind. And it's been a while since I've seen that explored to that degree. There was a movie that came out a couple of years ago that was literally just called Friendship, that I thought was going to be that, and it was not that to even the slightest degree. So I very much appreciated it. Was a very wholesome movie at a time where I kind of needed something wholesome.
Same. I went into this movie feeling pretty cranky today, and I feel like it really picked up my mood.
But the thing is that I can see some people accusing it of being a little bit emotionally manipulative. Like, I was feeling emotional at all the times I was supposed to, and I was like, the movie has completely, like, made me feel like this. Like, they knew what they were doing, and there's a part of me that kind of resents that, and there's a part of me that's like, you got me.
Well, it's a popcorn movie. That's what they keep saying. It's a popcorn movie, so go with the flow. You don't need to resist it. I feel like we all just need a win. It reminded me of when we watched Superman. Like, Superman hit all the right notes, and it was just kind of the feel-good thing we needed. Like, sometimes you just want to see the good guy win. You just want to see a plot that's like, beginning, problem, solve the problem, secondary problem, solve it, ending. You know what I mean? Like, you just kind of want the formulaic. But the thing is formulaic. It works for a reason. It just has to be done right, because you can still frig up formulaic when you're pandering constantly, right? So it doesn't pander. I think they knew their audience, and I definitely agree with the reviewers who say that they fleshed out the characters a bit more. And the author, they actually played the quote in the beginning that I was talking about before the movie started. The author was saying, as you and I were walking up the steps, they were interviewing him, and he was saying the bit about how he was very plot driven when he wrote the book, little less about the characters and the friendship, little more plot. And that they kind of brought that to it, and he loved it. He loved it a lot. So he was like, that was like, it felt like a collaboration. So I love that, because I think authors, if their work is going to be adopted, you want it to feel like a collaboration, not just taking it from them and putting your spin on it. I think a collaboration is great. Cinematography, freaking phenomenal.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
I still don't entirely believe when they say that wasn't green screen, because it's a movie that takes place in space, and there's a lot of, like, space shots, and I'm like, there's no way that's not CGI. So I'm not sure if maybe I'm misunderstanding what they mean when they say it wasn't green screen, but it's the most sort of visually spectacular space themed thing that I've seen since Gravity.
That's
way back in the day.
That's a great point. I'm actually looking it up, because I think they may mean two different things. Because I do think it does have CGI. I think it just doesn't, I think they're just not transposing the background. So yeah, it does use CGI, but it's a hybrid film that heavily prioritizes practical effects, physical sets, and animatronics over a fully digital approach. So they could have basically digitized this whole thing. I have seen tricks for how they do the kind of footage we were seeing.
That definitely felt like a very movie. You know what I mean? Like, you want to see it on a big screen. You do want to see it with the best sound possible. Not that it's purely a visual spectacular, but I remember seeing Gravity with my dad in IMAX 3D and thinking, there's no way that you could possibly enjoy this film to the same degree watching it just at home on a crappy TV with your regular TV speakers. And I really feel like this movie is so much more effective in the theaters, which I think is why it's getting butts in the seats. Yeah, because people know that this is the way to see it.
We didn't see a 3D viewing, but there were times when it felt 3D to me. Like, there were unique camera things that they did to mimic, like, the gravity situation and stuff. And so sometimes when they would pan a scene, the actual frame would move. It wouldn't actually be the actor, like, floating. Like, it would be the frame. Yeah. And it was a little disorienting in a good way, but there was one point where I got nauseous, and I was like, this is crazy. It's not even 3D, and it's making me nauseous.
It's just such a big screen, though, that you get sort of, like, sucked into it.
Yeah, and I think your brain fills in the gaps a little bit. So, like, the way they filmed things was really cool. The music was great. The cast was great. I know some people take issues with how Grace's backstory is explained, because there's a bit of time jumping back and forth. I actually thought it was fantastic. Yeah. I know some people didn't like it. They would have preferred it to be a start to finish. Like, let's just share his whole entire story right up from the beginning to when he's on it and everything.
I think if they had just done all those scenes together, it would have lost its effectiveness.
Me too.
Because it's connecting to where Grace is in the present.
With his memories.
With his memories and with how he's developing as a person, and then flashing back to something that ties in to the revelations that we're getting in this.
It's funny to me to think of this film, I was comparing it a bit to Arrival, which has like a different kind of tone to it, but had a lot of similar techniques and similar themes. And when you think about it, the aliens were kind of similar, like too. But wow, what totally different stories and different films. And it just goes to show you how, yes, you can have so many of these same themes and be totally different films and be both very good and enjoyable films for totally different reasons. So again, with that formula thing, like you can do a formula, you just got to do it right.
And these guys are known for thinking outside the box. Like, I'm sure a lot of it's based on a novel, so I'm sure a lot of it comes from the original source material, but Lord and Miller have managed to take things like the Lego movie, of all things, and turn it into something incredible, Spider-Verse, and make it something absolutely incredible. What are some of the other things?
I mean, I grew up watching Clone High, which is what they did, and I freaking loved it.
They did do Clone High.
Yeah,
oh my god!
I loved Clone High. The Lego movie, and there's something else that they did recently that I was like, oh, I can't believe that's them. Like that.
I'll look it up and I'll put it here when I find.
Yeah, they've done quite a few things. I don't know. I really enjoyed it. I don't know that it's going to win an Oscar or something, but who knows these days, honestly, because I feel like the movies coming out this year, like there's been some real hits and misses. So
I think it's probably, again, it's coming out in March, so it's a long ways away. The Oscars just happened. It's a long time. I remember when Sinners came out, we were like, are people still going to be thinking about this movie? And that came out later than this did. But I feel like the same way that Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein cleaned up in some of the technical categories, I would be shocked if this doesn't show up again and again and again in the technical categories. But I also wouldn't be surprised.
Like the set one. The set, there was like an Oscar for, I don't know, was it set making
production
or
design?
Production design. I could see this getting something. Like it's crazy.
And cinematography and again, like the puppetry. Apparently Rocky is between Ochi and that, like what they're doing with puppetry these days is really quite impressive.
I mean, Baby Yoda, like Grogu, is a perfect example of that, right? Like, it reminds me of my kid watching that character.
And it would have been so tempting and perhaps in some ways easier just to make Rocky completely CGI, but I feel like having an actual object there for Ryan Gosling to interact with helps him get to where he needs to go emotionally, because it's just, I want to take a moment to talk about Ryan Gosling's acting, because he's basically the only human who is on screen for significant chunks of time. We do get other real people in the flashbacks, but in the present, it really is just Gosling. And he manages to sell the emotions of what is basically him talking to a puppet with a whole crew around him. I have no idea how an actor in that kind of setting gets to where he needs to get to.
I read an article before we saw the movie, and I pointed out to Drew at the beginning of the movie, there's a fun little Easter egg that you can all watch for, because this is an article, it's out there, it's not a spoiler, and it's got nothing to do with the plot. But you know, he was in isolation for a lot of this filming, and days and days on end. I think it was something like over 100 days of isolated filming, before, like, with Rocky not even in it, like just all the bits where he's alone. And he told the crew that he was really lonely trying to act in these scenes. So as a joke, they made him a mop girlfriend. And in the beginning, they Easter egg in a couple of scenes with the mop girlfriend. And I just thought that was hilarious, like such a genius thing to do. But yeah, it was hard on him mentally to do it. And yet he was still able to convey so much emotion. And then when he's not by himself, he's with a puppeteering guy, like, you know what I mean? And I was crying when he was crying. The other thing is that man is aging really well. And I don't mean that in like he looks young, Hollywood young. I mean, like, he still looks like a little boy. Like, when he's looking at you, I'm like, you got the cutest little boy face. Like, how are you older than me? Like, I don't get it. Like he's aging very well, and he's got that kind of golden retriever puppy dog look. But then he puts the glasses down and he looks up, and I'm like, okay, Ryan Gosling, I see you. I was like, okay, you can do the little teacher routine. Like, I'm good with that.
I feel like glasses on guys is like becoming a thing. There's a phrase that's somewhat non-PG,
we can't say it. I was thinking of the same phrase, but we can't say it.
glasses show up in heated rivalry, like guys wearing glasses and looking good in them.
Well, someone tell my husband, because he's refusing to get his eyes tested. I keep telling him he'll be sexy, but like he's putting it off, and he totally needs to do it.
I also want to talk about, so the guy who ends up doing the voice of Rocky, it's not Rocky the creature's voice, but a computer that's interpreting the noises that it's making. I was listening and being like, should I know who this voice is? Is this somebody who's like an established voice actor? And apparently, based on what I Googled it then, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's the guy who was actually like created the puppet and was operating the puppet. And I'm like, he did such a good job. I'm surprised if he's not an actual actor. James Ortiz is his name.
Yeah.
And I thought he did a really good job because, again, most of the movie is Gosling and this guy's voice. So to keep me engaged the degree that I thought was quite an impressive feat.
He is mostly a stage actor.
His actual vocal performance in this really helped sell the emotion. So I thought it was a really wholesome film. I enjoyed the comedy in it. There's a lot of really effective comedic bits in it. Bump my fist. Fist my bump.
Fist my bump.
And I found that it was it was just a good time. Now I will say that there's a couple of false endings where I was like, okay, this is where the movie is ending, and then it keeps going for a little bit. And I am satisfied with where we end up, but I think you were feeling the same way in Song Sung Blue, that there were a couple of times you're like, okay, and we're done. No, we're not done. And we're done. No, we're not done yet. And I felt that maybe there might have been a little trimming that could have been done because it's an almost 3-hour movie. And while I was never bored by some of the fake out endings, I was just kind of like, are we still going to be going?
I was worried too by the bit of a fake out ending. I think there were just like, I don't think the fake out endings themselves needed to be trimmed. I just think they needed to not be framed as fake out endings, because it took away from the impact of the actual ending, I think. And it's a very good ending, and I think it was fine as is, and they didn't need to keep making it seem like it was the end. And it literally could have been done just by trimming some of the long looks and the, like that kind of stuff. It was just like with Song Sung Blue, like it was like, okay, I don't need to hear the same song for the 4th time in its entirety, kind of thing, right? I was a bit nervous that we weren't going to get the ending that we got, and I looked over at Drew, and of course he can't read my mind, but I'm just sitting there like trying to telepathically tell him like, hang on, there's more.
So I would have trimmed a little bit. And the other thing that I don't find realistic is Ryan Gosling's character figures out how to build a bunch of things and do a bunch of things, and based on what we have in the backstory, I'm like, I don't buy it. It's not that I needed a bunch of scenes of him like reading books and doing research on his computer or anything like that, but I'm sort of like, the person that we have been introduced before this mission starts, and now the things that he's managing to pull off, I'm not sure that I buy.
Well, he has amnesia. So I felt when the movie was happening, I felt the same way. I felt like they skimmed over a lot, and I actually thought of what I would say in this review is that you do have to suspend belief for this. Like, you just have to accept what's happening and assume that things are happening off screen, and assume that he has prior knowledge for certain things. Assume that Rocky is doing a lot of the stuff that you're not seeing too, because Rocky seems far more advanced, kind of thing. They do go into some depth on some things that are like really central to the plot, but other things they just skim over, and it's like, yeah, we built a whole lab. What?
Here's a translation machine that will tell you exactly not only what this alien is saying, but in a way that sounds like someone just talking to you.
Yeah.
Maybe technology for that exists. I don't know. I can't keep up with technology these days. I'm getting too old.
I mean, there is. We saw it in replay, right? When typing and having the voice and stuff. So, but anyway, we'll see. I do feel that you have to suspend belief, but I mean, I still really, really enjoyed it. It was not hard for me to just suspend.
Well, you needed to suspend it too in The Martian, which the same guy wrote the book that was based on.
Because he's making up his own science, right? He's making it up, so things aren't going to line up. Like, he's trying to base things on as much real stuff as he can, but he's at the end of the day, he's still making things up. And I actually love his idea though of what he was doing and how it ended up being used and all kinds of stuff. And I loved one of the characters is probably autistic, and she's just can't take a joke because she takes everything literal. And I loved the actress and how she handled that. It was so good. It was, you know what? The whole thing was just really enjoyable. It was really enjoyable. So Drew, how are you going to rate it?
So I am going to give it an 8 out of 10, just because of those two things that I mentioned. I found that the ending dragged a little bit, and sort of by the end of it, I was just like, okay, thank God it's over. Not that I didn't enjoy it, but I was ready to be done with it. And also, my failure to be able to suspend disbelief to the degree that he's doing things that I don't necessarily buy that he would have been able to do the way that he did.
Yeah. It felt a bit TV show that way instead of movie, because a lot of movies with this stuff, they do really try to show you usually like why the person can do things, or they have a background or something, you know what I mean? It felt a bit more like a TV show in that regard, where it's just like, cool, we're just going to skim over that a bit, skim over it.
But the other thing that I really enjoyed too that I haven't mentioned yet is it also has a lot to say, not just about friendship, but also death. And what does that mean? And how does one come to terms with it? It does get into existential stuff, and that can be a little triggering for me sometimes. But I didn't find that those themes were presented in a triggering way. It was presented in a very sort of like affirming, emotionally satisfying way.
Yeah, I felt the same way. I'm actually usually very easily triggered by that stuff, and I liked how they presented it, so it didn't go too dark or too deep. And even the bad and sad things that happen in the film, they go to the right level. So it's not surface level so that you're just like, haha, people died, whatever, it's over. It's deep enough, but it's also not so deep you get stuck in it. So for me, it's a similar rating. It's an 8.5. I wasn't quite as bothered by the ending as Droo was. More though that I had to pee, and I was nervous that I wasn't going to get the ending I wanted. So I was starting to get a little anxious. The suspending belief thing, like I was fine with it. I enjoyed it. I have to suspend belief when I watch Superman because I have to believe a man can fly, right? So it's fine. But there were a couple points like, it's like, oh, cool. Here's a little montage of him figuring out how to talk to the creature that really doesn't tell us anything. Like, how did you even come up with this idea of this? Like, so I don't know, stuff like that would have lended more to something episodic, I think. But, you know, it is what it is. Like, I'm glad we got it. Like, I'd rather have it than not have it. And I enjoyed it. And I think it is going to be a contender for some of those more technical Oscars. I could definitely see that happening. And I think it's a really feel-good movie. And the world is on fire right now. And the thing I liked, I keep saying and here, I keep adding so many things on, but one of the things I really liked about this is it showed humanity kind of coming together to solve this problem. And I just wish we would do that with more things. We shouldn't need to have like, okay, our sun's going to burn out, which is like the oldest plot device in sci-fi history.
but even in this movie, there's like a little bit of discussion about it will require this level of cooperation, and people will not do that. So there's a recognition of that. Even still, and it's just like the bigwigs have
to do it and solve it, like, because we know that people, once it gets to that state, they're trying to prevent it from even getting to that state. God, we could just use a bit of that. It's crazy that we can think of these things in movies and we just can't seem to make it work in real life. Like, people can think of it, but we can't seem to make it work. But it will give you a little bit of a oomph, the way Superman did, like a little bounce, a little hope for the future, I think. And like, really happy for Ryan Gosling.
Yeah.
Like, he's had a lot of hits lately.
I appreciate the feel good and more hopeful aspects, but I'm a bit more of a pessimist personally when it comes to my own personal thoughts. I'm more on the side of the Joker from the Dark Knight. When the tables are down, these people will eat each other and they just need the right inspiration to do so. So I'm a little bit more of that orientation in my viewpoint towards humanity, but I still appreciated what this was trying to say with that. I just want to say one more thing before we end the review too. I was saying to you as you were walking out, between the financial overperformance of this movie, like box office, the amount of money that it's making, Sinners doing so well. Remember when we saw Sinners, we were like, oh my God, this needs to make $200 million to even break even. And it made like so much more than that. It won all those Oscars. Oppenheimer
My big fear
huge.
with Sinners was that I knew, we saw it early and we knew it was so good. We knew it was so good, and I was terrified people weren't going to go see it.
Yeah.
Because it was just different. It was like a historical fiction, vampires, like kind of like a weird plot, and I loved it, and I'm so glad the rest of the world did. Like, so glad.
And again, Oppenheimer, a biopic about the creator of the atom bomb. It's not an action movie. It had a ton of big names in it, but that movie made an absolute ton at the box office. And even Barbie, it's based on an established brand, but it did something so creative and it had something to say, and audiences went to see it. I think Barbie made like a billion plus at the box office. So I'm just like, I was saying to you as we were on the way out, it feels like franchise fatigue has totally kicked in for a lot of things like the MCU, and people are actually going to the movies to see original stuff that has something something to say, and I am here for it. I'm still a franchise guy. I'm still going to see Spider-Man. I'm still going to see Supergirl when it comes out, but I'm just like, bring on the original movies and let's have originality make money at the box office again.
Yeah, for sure. I'm so sad that The Bride flopped. I still think it was great.
Yeah, I think it'll find a home on streaming. I've noticed the views on our video were like completely flatlining for a bit. It's ticking up. It's ticking up ever so slowly. So I feel like when it hits
the
streaming,
Joker 2, which was one of the most colossal failures of all time, is like number 4 or something on Netflix right now, which I said would happen way back then when I saw it. I was like, this is not as bad as people are saying. It's just that it disappointed the people who wanted to see it. But the people who aren't invested don't care.
Yeah.
And when they saw it, it was a decent movie, and I wasn't invested, so I found it fine. But I can totally see why people hated it, because they were super disappointed. But perfect example.
Yeah, and speaking of original films that look like they might actually make money, another one that we're hoping to go see next week is The Drama with Robert Pattinson and Zendaya. That trailer was about the most perfect trailer. I don't feel like it gave away too much. I'm just like, what's the secret? I need to know what her secret was. I need to know what's going on in this movie. And the urgency of that, and to avoid spoilers, like, I'm really hoping we can go to the Thursday premiere for that, because I think The Drama could be the next like big original thing that's going to do very, very well. I'm very excited.
Yeah. Alrighty, folks. Well, we will see you for the next movie. Hopefully we will not be covered under a sheet of ice. I don't even know if you can see our windows here, but like they are covered in ice. And please like and subscribe. We love hearing your comments and feedback. There's been a few people who are consistently always commenting, even if they haven't seen the movie or don't plan to. They tell us why, which we still like to hear. We like to hear. Right now, the way things go with Drew and I, like, we try to film a review for everything we see, unless we know that like there's just no point. But Drew will still try to do shorts reviews and everything. But at some point, I feel like audience suggestions are going to start to dictate a little bit, being like, oh, we should check this out because our fans on YouTube, like, they keep bringing it up. So maybe we should give it a shot, kind of thing. So we want to hear from you. Tell us what you think. Tell us what you think we should see. What do you think of these movies? You must have seen Hail Mary by now, because I feel like everybody's seeing it and we're late to the party, but we still want to know. So anyway, thank you so much.
And we'll see you at the movies.